TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations.
Shalom, Erev Tov. Good evening. This is TV7 Israel News, broadcast to you from Jerusalem. I'm Erin Viner, filling in for Jonathan Hessen. In our top stories, Israel warns its enemies that it will not tolerate any type of aggression by state or non-state actors, while pledging to strike at any terror element seeking to harm citizens or breach its national sovereignty. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu asserts that with God's help, Jerusalem will prevail over its enemies. The Iranian-proxy Ansar-Allah, which is dominated by the Houthi tribe in Yemen, has vowed to continue attacking Israel despite Jerusalem's repeated heavy blows against the terror group's leadership. Israel will not tolerate any type of aggression by state or non-state actors, pledging to strike at any terror element seeking to harm its citizens or breach its borders. Moreover, in a televised address, IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir emphasized unwavering determination to retrieve all of the hostages abducted by the Islamist Hamas and its terror affiliates from Israeli territory on October 7, 2023.
This is an ongoing moral duty that we will persist in. We will not rest and we will not stop until all our hostages are returned by every possible means.
General Zamir also addressed ongoing attacks by the Iranian-proxy Ansar-Allah, which is dominated by the Houthi tribe in Yemen, that have provoked deadly retaliatory strikes by the Israeli Air Force and Navy.
We carried out a significant strike against strategic targets of the Houthi terror regime in Yemen. The Houthis operate as another terrorist proxy of Iran, continue to attack the state of Israel, and undermine regional and international stability. Our message is clear: there is no tolerance.
During his weekly cabinet meeting in Jerusalem, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also addressed Israel's extensive efforts to retrieve the remaining abductees from Hamas captivity, who now number 48, following the joint operation by the IDF and the Israel Security Agency to repatriate the bodies of murdered Israeli hostages Ilan Weiss and Idan Shtivi home from the Gaza Strip.
These are days of great achievements, but they are also very challenging. In an operation by the ISA and the IDF, we managed to return 2 of our fallen hostages to Israel to bring them for burial in Israel. I am talking about Idan Shtivi and Ilan Weiss. May their memory be blessed. They are 2 heroes. Both of them acted to try to rescue and save. Shtivi was in Nova, and he acted. He could have rescued himself, but he went and rescued and came back and rescued, and then he was shot in the back. Ilan Weiss, he was 56 years old, left his home on the morning of the terrible attack. He was a member of the Tsachi, the defense team. He ran to the armory, tried to retrieve weapons, and was murdered there. The bodies of both were kidnapped to Gaza. We worked hard for months to bring them back, and we succeeded. I spoke with their families yesterday, and I offered them our condolences on behalf of the entire Israeli government and the citizens of Israel.
Netanyahu continued by asserting that the successful retrieval mission illustrates Jerusalem's commitment to all of those who remain imprisoned in Hamas captivity.
This operation expresses our commitment to returning all of our hostages. I remind you that to date we have returned 207, of whom 148 were alive. We will return them all, both the living and the dead. The cabinet decided on the issue to defeat Hamas and release all of our hostages with great effort, and the IDF has already begun to implement this decision. I would like to express my appreciation to the reserve and regular soldiers who are preparing for the mission of liberation and decisiveness.
Regarding the sustained attacks on Israel by the Houthis in Yemen, the premier underscored that the elimination of the terror group's senior leaders during the latest retaliation embodies the stated pledge to force the Iranian proxy to pay for its blatant aggression.
For some time now, I have been assuring you, and the citizens of Israel as well, that the Houthis will pay a very heavy price for their aggression against the state of Israel. Last Thursday, I ordered the IDF to attack the terrorist government in Yemen. The Air Force attacked the gathering of senior officials of the terrorist regime in Sana'a. At the time, they were watching a speech by the Houthi leader, Abd al-Malik al-Houthi. Al-Houthi usually promises in every such speech that he will strike Israel, that he will destroy Israel. They have engraved this on their flag. So this promise will not be fulfilled, but our promise to strike the terrorist regime with greater force is being fulfilled, and how it is being fulfilled. In a fatal blow, the IDF eliminated most of the Houthi government and other senior military officials. And I also remind you that an entire coalition of world countries acted against them. But we are doing what no one has done before us, and this is just the beginning of the blow to the senior officials in Sana'a. We will reach everyone.
Prime Minister Netanyahu concluded his remarks by declaring that, with God's help, Israel will emerge victorious in the face of its enemies.
I remind you of one more and final thing. Just 2 months ago, we struck the head of the snake and carried out an operation that will be recorded for generations of removing an existential threat from us, again, in a way that no country has done before us. Since then, we have been systematically striking the remnants of the Axis, day after day, arena after arena. Together we will continue to do it on all fronts, and with God's help, together we will continue to win.
Meanwhile, speaking from an undisclosed bunker, leader of the Ansar-Allah terror organization, Abd al-Malik al-Houthi, vowed to press on with attacks against Israel.
هذه التضحية الكبيرة في سبيل الله سبحانه وتعالى لن تؤثر.
This great sacrifice for the sake of Allah Almighty will not affect our country's position, either officially or popularly, and will not lead to retreat, weakness, or debility. On the contrary, sacrifice for the sake of Allah Almighty increases our steadfastness, determination, certainty, resilience, and cohesion. Our military approach to targeting the Israeli enemy, whether with missiles, drones, or the naval blockade, is a continuous, steady, and escalating one. Our approach is also to support the Palestinian people in every field, to the best of our ability, and to wage this sacred battle against the Israeli enemy, which is an enemy of the Islamic nation and of human society as a whole.
In unrelated incidents, Houthi terror operatives raided United Nations offices belonging to the World Food Program and the UNICEF Humanitarian and Development Fund for Children located in Yemen's capital city of Sana'a. At least 11 UN staffers were detained during the assault, as the terrorists also looted their offices. It is worth pointing out that this latest round of attacks and abductions of the world body staff by Ansar-Allah come just 3 weeks after the UN Special Envoy for Yemen, Hans Gunberg, had warned during a briefing to the Security Council that the relentless Houthi attacks against Israel and consequential retaliation have placed immense strain on vital infrastructure in the Arabian Peninsula country.
For Yemen to have a real chance for peace, it must be protected from being further drawn into the ongoing regional turmoil emanating out of the war in Gaza. Therefore, the strikes against civilian ships in the Red Sea must cease. The missile attacks against Israel and the subsequent Israeli strikes on Yemen must also come to an end. Beyond complicating the mediation space for a long-term settlement of the conflict in Yemen, This escalation has led to the near destruction of Yemen's West Coast port facilities. This is placing immense strain on Yemen's vital infrastructure.
In other yet related news, amid apparent fear over potential escalation with Israel, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian is claiming that Tehran is not seeking war, and he is instead accusing Washington and Jerusalem of allegedly seeking to divide and destroy his country in echoes of familiar anti-Western rhetoric and historical revisionism.
America and Israel are seeking to divide Iran, to destroy Iran, and no Iranian wants their country to be divided or to surrender in humiliation. We are not looking for war, but if they want to invade, we will stand up to them with force. We do not want to fight. We said it from the start, but we are not afraid of war.
The comments by President Pezeshkian follow reports that the Ayatollah regime may likely collapse if hostilities are renewed with Israel and the United States. Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. Please keep praying for the hostages and the peace of Jerusalem. I'm Erin Viner. See you during our next update. Shalom from Jerusalem.